your motivation?
Probably should have, like, worked on all of that ahead of time, but I didn't. But we're here, and it's fine, actually. Why is it not working now? Why is it not like Emmy? Hold on. Maybe I set it up wrong. Un momento. Might be a timer. No, it's got a cooldown of 1 minute. What if I just get rid of that? I wish I could do like 30 seconds. Because, like, I don't necessarily want to have them be spammed one right after the other. But also, sometimes it's fine. I can quickly fix this. Motivation should be fixed. Should be able to do that now, assuming I've resolved it. I will eventually make a list of all the sounds that we have, and I am, I think, willing to add more as we go. It was that I was using a different program to have my sound clips be played, and then the program actually ended up being shit and, like, wouldn't work unless I had my phone activated all the time, and it's like, I'm not gonna do that for, like, a 3-hour stream. Fuck that. So I've gone back to my original bot that was doing sounds, and of course, I forgot to, like, check and do all of this ahead of time, so we're doing it now. But you know what? That's okay, because it's here, and it works. In theory. All of the mod sounds should also be there. The ones that are, like, y'all's usernames. And a couple of the VIPs should be functioning as well. If you want to go through and, like, change them up at some point. But this works for now. I do have... Is that how you spell it? Yeah.
I can't believe you've done this.
That one's very quiet for some reason. We'll work with this. It's just me or Emmy. Beautiful. I can turn these up as need be. Perfect. Oh my god, why did I ever stop using this? So yeah, sound commands are back. They're functional again. Whoo boy! Unrelated. Back to the main point of stream, though. It is, I caved, and I said, actually, I deserve a nice thing. Sorry, I'm moving my microphone, because OBS is yelling at me that I'm peeking. Yeah, I caved and I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm buying Alone in the Dark because I deserve a nice thing after the last couple of fucking weeks. I also, like, you know, finished making up my hours from this week this morning. I woke up early to do that, and I did it. And again, I was like, I need to fucking treat myself. So here we are, treating ourselves. I'm very excited to play Alone in the Dark. I have only ever watched other people play the original. I've seen a handful of the other originals, like 1 through 3, seen most of 1. It's been a very long time though. Watched bits and pieces of 2 and 3. I have seen portions of the remake that they did. Like, what was that, like 2008 or whatever? And it's bad. But I got decent hopes for this one. I did purchase the original 3 on GOG because they're like 59 cents right now, as opposed to like their usual $6, which is still like nothing. I do want to play the originals at some point. Those will probably be a YouTube exclusive, just because they can be very silly and very difficult to play at times. But keep an eye out for that. I also plan on doing Arcade's new game as well. Hopefully this weekend. We'll see what my energy level is like, but Arcade came out with my neighbor Einid. And I do want to play that one, and I do want to record that one. But yeah, it's Barrymore. Good morning. How are you doing? Welcome in. It goes without saying, hello, Emmy, as well. We just kind of started talking about sounds and testing out sounds, so I just didn't say anything. My bad. But welcome in, everyone. Thing about this game, because it's brand new. I grabbed my drink to drink it, and then didn't drink it. I do have I have 2 glasses with me. Because one is actual water and the other is Sprite. Ooh, what kind of bread? Tell me all about your bread. I like baking bread. It's fun. I don't have any of the tools to be able to do it anymore, so I'm going to live vicariously through you right now. Nice though. But no, what I was saying, the game is still brand new. I looked on Does the Dog Die for content warnings. No one has made a page for it yet, so I've made a page for it. And as always, if people want to go through and fill that out as we play, that would be lovely. Otherwise, I will be doing that post streams just to keep it updated. But unlike normal, we don't really have any content warnings for this game. I think the generalized content warnings, just adult content, violence. Excuse me, we do have the devs.
Disturbing letter from Jeremy accusing the staff and all the other patients.
Excuse you, Steam. Shut the fuck up. Big old French loaf. Yum. Oh, that sounds so yummy. We do have the devs actually gave us like some content stuff, which is great. You love to hear it. They describe the content like this. Player fights against monsters with guns and melee weapons. There is no excessive gore, but there is violence against non-human enemies. Some of the game's themes imply self-harm, such as suicide and depression, but are not shown explicitly. Hey, devs actually giving us, like, decent content warnings. Thank you. So, heads up on that. I appreciate the fact that they do specify that it's not shown explicitly, because that can make a difference for some folks. But yeah, I'll fill out the Does the Dog Die page as we play. Again, if y'all want to do that as well, that'd be wonderful and appreciated. But I think that's all the generalized nonsense I have to say about this ding-dang video game. Y'all wanna play a game? I did mess around with the settings a little bit. I haven't started the game yet, so I don't know if it's gonna work. I think I have everything set to high, for not display, for video. Yeah, that should be fine. My computer normally can handle games run at high, but it's still new, and I know that there was some optimization issues when it first launched, but it's, you know, it's been a few days. They've probably addressed that, but I guess, like, let's fucking go. Y'all, let's go? Let's do standard. For stream, what is this? Extra help provided to make the experience smoother and easier, including hints and helpful highlights. Can be switched at any time. Let's start with modern. I want to see how, like, obtrusive it is. Or intrusive, I should say. Because I don't know that I'd mind, like, a hint at the start while we're getting used to it. We'll probably swap to old school, TBH. But yeah, I'm stoked. Frog.
So, your uncle. What's wrong with him?
He's possessed.
As in the devil?
Something like that. He says a dark man is following him, watching him at all times.
What do you make of it?
It's nonsense, of course, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't bother me. You see, it runs in my family.
Possession?
No, detective. Deteriorating melancholy. Practically every member of the Hartwood family is driven mad before they grow old.
But Jeremy didn't kill himself. Is that why he's at your setup?
Despite being convinced that he is truly possessed, he decided to put his last chips on Dr. Gray and his psychoanalysis, figuring he might stumble upon some cure.
You mentioned the letter.
I received a disturbing letter from Jeremy accusing the staff and all the other patients of being involved in some cult. And now they are also out to get him.
Could it be real? Or is it all just in his head?
It's a story he tells himself, Mr. Carnby. Anything to avoid the truth.
Which is?
That we're all terribly insignificant. That people mean so very little to one another. That there is no one out to get Jeremy Hartwood because he isn't worth getting.
Here we are.
Hello, sirs. Oh, no phone.
My uncle's not well, Mr. Carnby. I want to make sure he's all right.
Then what's my part in this? You couldn't get a cab?
I just wouldn't feel safe going alone. Did you bring a gun?
Yeah. You think it'll actually come to that?
No. But you might need to wave it around depending on how agreeable the staff will be.
What exactly are we gonna do when we find Jeremy?
I don't know. Let's just find him first.
We get to choose who to be. Do we want to be Carnby or do we want to be Emily Hartwood? Consider. We do 2 playthroughs. Oh shit. Does anybody have any opinions? Because if not, probably go with Carnby. The iconic Edward Carnby. Yeah, let's do it. Confirm.
Hello? Hello?
looks abandoned.
It can't be. There has to be someone around.
Wait here. I'll go around back.
Well, I'm glad I chose to put my face up here, because that doesn't seem to be covering anything. Also, it's so nice that a game has decent sensitivity with my mouse! Aiming. Okay. Do the thing, Emmy. Thank you for the lurk. Right? Right, though? Who knows what's gonna happen when you place your cam somewhere. It's either gonna be in the way, or just a problem. But it's fine. We chose right this time. But yeah, happy lurking. Do all the things you gotta do. I got a flashlight. And a kitchen garden key. Can I open? Okay. V for your flashlight. That's weird. That's fine. It's fine. Can I go in there? Only just? I do wish that their, like, the in-game subtitles were a bit bigger and weren't constantly on light-colored backgrounds. Can I actually change that? Oh, I can change the size. Oh, yes, please. Actually, I am going to turn that down just a smidge. We'll keep the aim up and the camera sensitivity down. So that's still pretty zippy. I usually have to turn the sensitivity up. Excuse me. Also, as per usual, if you notice any issues with the sound being too loud or not loud enough, feel free to let me know. It looks like it's fine, but I still like to just remind everyone that you can tell me if there's something fucked up with my stream. That's a statue. What is that? There's a thing looking at us. It's fine. It's fine. Sorry, I just want to... Wow, you're really quiet, Carnby. Hold on. Sorry. We're starting a new game, therefore I have to wiggle everything around. His voice volume is just very quiet, I guess. It's fine. Who needs to know what he's saying outside of cutscenes? What's that? Can I fish it out? That was just a leaf falling behind me. Why am I tripping already? Ooh, there is some stuttering. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Turn that down to medium. And see if that helps. Look, we appreciate a good-looking game from from time to time. I just want the game to run smooth. That's all. Salvia, hi. I can do a hydrate and a shrimp check. Alright. We're not shrimping. There's no shrimping happening. This is a shrimp-free zone. And yeah, I'll make sure I'm not a dried shrimp. We aren't a shrimp anymore. Are we dried, though? We have dinked our oiter. Y'all should dink your oiter, too. How are you doing? How's it going? Hold on, sorry. I'm just gonna wiggle things around a little bit. Is that Fortnite juice? No, it's just water with a little bit of blueberry raspberry flavoring in it, because I drink so much dang water that I need something to, like, punctuate the drinking. Can we? Yeah. Get VSync in here. Somebody is whispering in my ear. It's fine. I'm sure it's fine. Housekeeper's key. What? I'm not gonna question it. It's adventure horror logic. Big tree. Does it only whisper when I'm, like, not looking at it? What happens? I don't think they liked that. It's fine. Whatever ghosts are here, I'm sure they don't mind. That's probably where they want me to go. But I just want to look around. That's locked. Like, forever locked. What's in here? Dink! Oh, I'm not allowed to go up the stairs. Okay. Never mind, then. Use that housekeeper's key, please. Well, you know what? I'm not shrimping too hard. But I think one of the reasons why I am shrimping even a little bit is just because my... Hello? Can I steal these keys? My chair was leaned back just a little bit. Because I was trying to be comfy earlier. Why is he so quiet? It's fine, I'm sure. What's in here? Rats. A family
Every
Bible.
day your silence weighs a little heavier. It's been a difficult year for everyone, and many have lost all hope. I read in the papers about people suffering. Pictures of dust-covered landscapes without a drop of water. I wish I knew if you were still tending the earth, or if you had turned your back against us. I have started to look for help elsewhere. I pray you will tell me if I'm going down a path that you find disagreeable. With help from Baptiste and Charlotte,
Sorry, I realize
found
my face is covering up
comfort
some of
in
this.
the practice of the voodoo. I have long been skeptical of that Caribbean cult, but it's been of good use to me. It seems all harmless in my book. I say some words dreamt up by the Creoles, and I carry around a small pocket of gris-gris. Nothing of this is mentioned in the Bible, of course, but the French Quarter priestess tells me it's all connected. She says the Christian God is just one more perspective on the creator of things. That's what I like to think, but the other way around, that the spirits of her faith are just aspects of you, our Heavenly Father. I am so grateful for the words you gave Mr. Hartwood. We will sing your praises at St. John's Eve. The world will be blessed soon again. Only the sacrifices of the Old Testament compare to your demands. Let it be the truth. A mother of earth, wood, and dirt. A mother of 1,000 young.
Sacred sand, $1. Black cat oil, $1.50. Devil shoestrings, a quarter. That makes $2.75, madame.
What was that you were telling the doctor? A goat without horns. What does that mean?
Ah, you must have misheard me, madame. I said no such thing.
Please. I know I don't look like any of you.
Why don't we-
But I'm devout.
Wow,
I'm
ma'am.
ready to do what it takes.
Do not be so eager to sacrifice the few things you have left, madame. Now please, leave my store.
A goat without horns.
Well, it'd be nice if I had subtitles for all of what was just said. But also, oh boy, already dealing with some potentially racist ladies. Wonderful. It's not wonderful. It's the least wonderful. All right. Okay, well, someone's here. Someone exists in this house. I can hear him stomping around. There. Okay. I mean, we gotta loot. We gotta do a loot. It's very important that I steal everything in this house. That's where we came from. Can I go in here? Meat? Great. I know it's early on. Cool. Some rat poison. Squeal no more! What is this? I have no idea what that word is. Forbidden knowledge? I don't know what any of that is. They are non-essential items that you can find throughout the game. Completing sets will uncover forbidden knowledge, and sometimes even more. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification. They carry from game to game. Some sets can't be completed without playing both Carnby and Emily's. Okay. Okay, cool. Well, I do plan on doing both. I think probably on stream. But we'll see. So why is that so blue? It just is. Oh, you're what fell open. We'll just put that back. Because while we're thieves, we're not rude. Okay. Does this lead anywhere? Sabotage.
Please do not touch the boiler. It is working after all. While the sabotage has caused a leak, only the decorative plate has been completely ruined. Let's wait for Mr. Chance to turn up and he can take a look at the leak. Mr. Waits.
Okay. A decorative plate, you say? Like the... Would that be like one of the pieces that I found in that well? Possibly? And I can't get through because it's hot. Steam hurts. This just in. Don't touch the steam. Okay, what's in here? I should probably, like, try and make our way upstairs, right? So we can let Emily in. But also consider, what if I just make her stay outside and never do anything to assist? Does that really not have anything in it? Streetcar ticket? Okay. Hey, we'll look at those in more detail if we complete a set. But for right now, this means nothing to us. Okay, well, Carnby, do you have an idea where we can find a key? 'Cause we've passed these a couple of times, and you don't want to take any of those. There wasn't anything in here. Woo! And I didn't think I could take the thing that was in the hole in the ground. Hello. But I can try again? Because it seemed like I needed, like, another item in order to get it. But... that was outside, wasn't it? This is fine. Look, we're here to just wander around, have a nice time. Cause some mischief. Stick our hands in some holes. That definitely looks like it would match the boiler, right? I don't have a key for that. Or... Oh! No, okay. Thought maybe I could fill the hole up with some water. Or I can, right? Barnaby, do you want to... Okay, hold on. Can I look around? No. I feel like I should be able to put that hose in that hole and turn that spigot. Can I go back this way? Yes, but for why? We kind of grabbed everything that's over here. Okay. Hey, anyone see a key? It's got such heavy footfalls.
Nah, I'm not getting in there.
Yeah, I don't have anything for that. A key or like bolt cutters, maybe? I mean, that's a classic horror game trope. What's there? Anything around here? No. That's fine. Just gonna wander around in circles. I'm just looking for circles. Circles to pop up. Things I can interact with. Grabbed everything that was in here, right? Yeah. I keep thinking he's like looking at something when he like leans forward to run. But he's not. Okay. Let's take one more look around in here. Let's rub our face on some meat. Barnaby. Buddy. Have you considered just kicking the door down? And this is where the boiler is. I'm like pretty sure I can't pass through here. Okay. It's pretty sure that was going to be the case, but okay. Needed to triple check. So this is a dead end. Just fully. Oh, hi. There's a door here. That's embarrassing. I have spatial awareness. What was that icon? Like a barred door? It's a magazine of literature and fine arts. My God, this bathroom, though. Why is this place like this? Where are people? I don't have a key for that. And I don't have a key for that. I probably want to continue to go upstairs, right? Unless... Yeah, we'll just quickly check this. We've got the floor plans. Oh, I love me a good map. Okay. Can't really get anywhere. That's fine. We've got a piazza key. Is this... Cannot use the Piazza key on the medicine box. Weird. Strange how that works. What's this? Lottie's
Sunday,
diary.
June 22nd. I spent all day looking for Jeremy. I should have cared for the others, but I'm scared that he will do something irreversible. Cassandra is upset that I didn't give her the latest shipment of pain medication that Waits brought from the post office yesterday. I would have given it to her, but the company didn't send a new key this time around, so the box is just sitting there on my desk. They must have figured we had plenty of their gimmicky keys by now. I only remember seeing one lately. Grace was playing with it inside the grand parlor. Unless it turns up by itself, it will have to wait. I have to figure out where Jeremy is. I think Jack knew something. That dog of his found a strange rot permeating the house. She's showing us, he said. Like those blots and streaks of fetid rot was talking to him.
Sounds like you've got a mold problem. More than anything. But also, possibly, a key in a parlor. We'll try and remember that. What is this?
Wedge shot.
Okay. We'll, come back to that.
Looks important.
Yeah, can't use a key on it. Okay. Well, I guess we do have the Piazza key, which could probably unlock one of these doors. That's the library.
I need the key.
Yeah, I understand, man. Hey, we're here now. Why? Is that just paint or is it blood? Which of these two is that? Fur. Locked. Do apologize that he is so quiet just while we're out wandering around. I don't know why he's like this. Thanks, Barrymore. Have a good day. Enjoy the market. We'll see you later.
The Great Depression. President Hoover raises tariffs on
Why
over
do you sound so
20,000
nice,
imported
like,
goods
happy about
in an
that?
act to protect American labor. Following the collapse of the Wall Street stock market on October 24 last year, American industry has suffered greatly. Thousands of companies have gone bankrupt and left a large part of the American workforce unemployed. In an attempt to turn the tide, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act has been signed by President Herbert Hoover. By regulating commerce with foreign countries, the government hopes to encourage the industries of the United States to compete with cheap foreign imports. Superstition on rise. New Orleans voodoo stores and spiritual mediums see increased profit during troubled times. While the market has faced hard times ever since Black Thursday of last year, voodoo doctors and snake charmers see significant rise in number of customers. With the coming eve of St. John on the 23rd, the police expect increased cult activity around Bayou St. John, the southern shore of Lake Pontchartrain. Voodoo rituals in that area on the eve of St. John have a long tradition reaching back to the first snake worshippers brought as slaves from West Africa.
It's
During
almost
the 19th
like it's not a
century,
cult,
its practice was
actually.
popularized by the legendary Marie Laveau and has since been embraced
And
by
almost
many
like
of the
it's a
Creoles and a surviving
actual
aristocracy
religion.
of the French Quarter. Author seeks asylum. Rumors regarding author
This does
Cassandra
take place in
Beauregard
1930.
making
It's...
Deseto her home verified.
I get it,
Deseto
but also...
Hospital is an old plantation building on the eastern shores of Lake Pontchartrain. While often considered an asylum for the insane, residing Dr. Elmore Lee Gray prefers to think of it as a convalescent home, a place where you can go to rest. The patient list is kept secret, but thought to include many of the black sheep of wealthy families, because at Deseto, treatment does not come for free. Local author Cassandra Beauregard has now been confirmed by her own admission. She's been lauded as a powerful Creole voice and written many successful books. Lately it was reported from Hollywood that she has finished a moving picture manuscript titled Slaughter Gulch. That film is set to hit the theaters next year.
Okay. Normally I would just read these out, but I'm kind of enjoying the voice acting for him, so we'll just let them do it. We might need to take a quick break though, because I already have to go to the bathroom. Ain't that just the way? Hold on, before I do that, what's in here?
I need the key.
Why is it zooming in like this? Okay, no one's coming. Sometimes you just gotta ring a bell. Just be real annoying. And that is also barred. Okay. No, door. Door, please. Door, you have to let me through. Map. We came through the piazza. We went through reception. So I guess we go upstairs? Did I? Oh, never mind.
Thanks.
What are you doing? Who are you?
Whoa, pardon me, excuse me. My name is Edward Carnby, private investigator. I hope you don't mind we let ourselves inside.
I do mind. This is private property. You can't just barge in here.
I'm sorry about all this, but I'm looking for my uncle. It's urgent, and no one was answering the door.
We can't hear you knocking anymore. None of us can.
Who is your uncle, darling?
Jeremy. Am I right? She has that Hartwood glue, doesn't she?
That's right. I'm Emily Hartwood. I just came to make sure my uncle is all right.
Well, he is unavailable right now. You will have to come back another day.
Unavailable? How? Is he sleeping? We can wait.
He's lost.
Don't I know you from somewhere?
Who's your man again, Miss Hartwood?
My name's Edward Carnby, private investigator.
Splendid.
Enough! All of you! Get back to your rooms! McCarthy, keep your eyes on the child. And you two, please leave immediately.
Look, we're not here to cause any trouble. Just let us see the old man, satisfy the curiosity of my client here, and we'll be off.
Jeremy has gone missing. There's no need to worry, but it might be some time before he turns up. The whole staff is looking for him.
What? He ran off?
I don't have time for any of this. Please, come back tomorrow.
All right, in that case, we'll just wait in his room. You don't mind, do you? It's upstairs, right?
Wait, you can't.
Don't worry, we'll be discreet.
In the corridor. It's the first door on your left. I'll tell Dr. Gray you're here.
Excellent. Thank you, madam. All right, here we are.
Let's look around. See if we can dig up any clues.
Love that he's just pushing his way in here. Yeah, let's I need to use the restroom. So we will be right back and then play some more. Can we I love the music for this game. I know I've said it before and I will say it again. It's very good. Yikes. There. Not even concerned. We did it. We did it. It's a distinct voice. Are you excited and ready? I'm excited and ready. so scary. I vaguely remember what this one sounds like, but I don't fully recall. It's been a minute since I've completely. Was there a Lamia lamp? Oh, yeah, there is! She's watching y'all. She's fucking watching y'all. Lampia, no! Don't do this to my cat! Music went bad. Go to work, Emmy. Music went bad. Did it do that terrible thing that it does on other streams? Oh, is it still doing it though? Because it sounds normal to me. No? Okay. Weird. I wonder if it is, we're going down here. We're going down here.
Okay. No!
No! Goat! Oh, wait.
No, it's your goat. It's fine. How do I save you? She's just carrying you.
What the fuck?
How do I heal you?
I don't know.
I'm really scared. She's just hanging up around you. I'm really scared, Kaysh. I don't know what to do. I want to save you, but I can't. Fuck you, bitch. Crawl to me.
I'm sorry, I had to recover.
How do I heal you? Okay, I'm healing you.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, friends! We're here! Alright. Do we know what ending 6 is then? Because I think that's the only other one that we're missing.
You.
I'm sorry, baby. You gotta go. Mwah. I am back. Let's go. Yeah, like I said earlier, I think we'll probably just, like, stream for a while. Good long while. Because I am very excited about this. And... I'm missing a piece. Okay. Oh, look at that! I'm very excited about this game, and I've done all the things that I absolutely have to do today. So just playing might be kind of nice, but we'll see energy-wise what we can manage.
Look out for? Did he keep a diary?
Not that I know of, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Can I turn that off? Instead of just constantly blinding her.
Every night the dark man stands opaque at the threshold of my room, counting the days until my spirit spills out of my tired shape. Only his pallid mask shelters my remaining sanity. Staring directly into the face of that demonic sultan would surely sunder time itself. Would he have looked the same to my father as he struggled for his life? Does his veiled face haunt my niece quite the same way? I wish so that I could rest my soul in that sunburnt convent of Teruel. Would I find you there, Juan? Or Senora Perosi, back from the beyond? Every night I hide from him, moving from one misshapen memory to another. Scenes conjured out of fantasy and delirium. Places I struggle to even paint. I wish I understood your death, Senora. Is there anything I could do for you but bury you in that bleak necropolis? That triumphant chapel rising above the ledges and the oven vaults shall be your sepulchre, where you may rest, and I shall weep.
I assume that this is Uncle. Did he murder someone? Hey, Uncle?
How did you first come to understand such things, Senora? How did you know that the battered boiler in the basement would lead me to Lafayette Cemetery? Or how the old upstairs clock, with its astronomical motifs, would take me to that hateful mound outside of Claremont Harbor? Those are my memories, my past. Is there perhaps a chance, if ever so small, for me to see Terrawaya? Oh, I want that more than anything. Please, let my talisman take me there. Let me sit with Juan under his Bodhi tree. Despite having sold me that talisman, Miss Jackson, the voodoo priestess, revealed none of her secrets to me. That's why I had to travel to Tonka. Instead, she cruelly told Baptiste, my caretaker, that he would be betrayed and killed in the most awful way, that the one he loved would pierce his thigh with a sharp spear, and that he would be devoured by his own mother. What a terrible thing to say.
What is happening?
The people of Deseto are becoming dangerous. They do not understand what they are doing. I must do something to stop them. I tried talking to Dr. Gray, but he confuses my worries. He's caught up in treating me. How can he expect evil to be cured with medicine and conversation? The orderlies, the housekeeper, and the patients are all deranged. They will call upon evil to enter this world. All will be lost. Everything. Unless I can find the clerk, Mr. Waite. He seems to be a clear-thinking man. Maybe Beauregard.
I trust Beauregard.
The dark man offered me a prison, and I accepted. I signed that miscarried contract and entered the dark pact. Everyone is safe, except for me.
Okay. Oh, I can zoom in. Talisman plates and sockets. There are always 3 numbers. I'm sure that this will be important later. Oh! That's for this. Oop. There we go.
Hey, you know anything about this? Looks like some sort of talisman.
No, I don't. Oh, help me out here, will you?
I would kill the guy to throw some of this stuff out. I'd be crazy too if I had this much junk lying around.
Oh, wow. That's striking. I want to save this one. All right, come on. I want to go see Dr. Gray. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, I'm coming. Miss Hartwood. Emily? What the hell is going on? Where am I?
This seems fine. Definitely not weird or strange. Okay. We have to go investigate the corner store. So let's go do that. New paintings just dropped. So what was that noise? Sounded like something like rattling. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm sure it's fine. Oh, it's bugs. Never mind. I have worried about it. We have found the answer. It was bugs. Hello. Oh. Well. Huh. I bet we can ask him for directions. Hey, sir? Fuck off! Okay. Let's just quickly reload. Where did the other guy go? It's fine. I'm sure. Rude. Hello? What's over here? I mean, this seems like a place that I can't go. Therefore, I must go.
Can't go that way.
Oh, okay. Never mind. What do I know?
What the hell is going on?
Oh, didn't mean to do that. I was just trying to pick it up. Oh, that looks like the... I think that's the same, like, symbol logo that was on that note that we found in the Bible. I am full on drink. How am I supposed to... That's putting my gun away. Feel like there should...
Conde couldn't believe his eyes. The French Quarter scene before him was dark and sinister. The only sign of life he could see from Jeremy's balcony was the light coming from a lone corner store.
We, pulling an Alan Wake? We doing an Alan here? How do I... Hold on. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to activate my health items. Well, this isn't helpful. Key bindings, please. G. G to consume. We just dink. We dink to heal. Fine. Okay. I know they want me to go to the corner store, but again, consider, I look around and I get all of the bits. I know you can't go that way. I just wanted to, I wanted to get the things. I wanted to ring the bell. Barnaby, we're just looking for items right now, pal. Which there don't really seem to be any about. You keep saying that. Hold Q to aim. Okay. We can't go that way. All right. I'm gonna ring the bell every single time. What's back here? Melee weapon? That looks like a trash pipe. Okay. This is fine. Hold F for a heavy attack? Okay, I see. Weird. Weird controls. I can deal with it. It's fine. They're not as strange as, like, Resident Evil's tends to be, but still strange.
Don't let them get inside, Compare. They're not the good kind.
Are you... Is this your store?
There are no owners here. We both strangers in Jeremy's story.
Jeremy did this. How?
The pact with the dog man. Jeremy warned us, but we didn't think much of it.
I'm Detective Edward Carnby. I was hired by Jeremy's niece to find him.
Oh, yeah? How much she paying you?
$150.
She's sure getting her money's worth tonight. Are you a thinking man, Compare?
No, not if I can help it.
You know, I think Jeremy's hiding in a way we can't find him. He has this juju necklace that guides him.
The talisman?
That's right. It's some magic charm he got from Miss Jackson down the street.
The voodoo priestess?
You know surprising things, Compare. Yeah, the Mama Loa. Here, take the key. I locked the gate to save her place from all the ghouls and goblins getting inside. Maybe if you go there, you can find some clues to show you the way.
Thanks. I'll have a look.
Thanks. But he skis. Thanks, buddy. Can I have this? It's a preserved reptile. For all your preserved reptile needs. Yeah, give me more bullets, please. I didn't think I was, like... I thought the game was giving us quite a few at the beginning, but I am realizing now that it takes quite a few to get through an enemy. And I am sure that they are just going to get a little more intense as we go on. As in, like, they're gonna get bigger and beefier. Hey, guy.
You want to come along?
Nah, I'm gonna stay here for a while.
They're so quiet. Why do they whisper when they're not in a cutscene? I don't understand. Right. You said down the road, right? But... Wait, excuse me, what did that say? Your map is of no use here. Okay. I understand. Oh, there's a big boy! Probably shouldn't have shot this guy. But here we are. Oh, it's fine, actually. Do need to be a little more cautious about... Why is he worms? Ew. Oh, and they're pulsating. Ew. Nasty. That way? I guess. Doesn't look like I can go either of the other ways. Flashlight. That's what I was missing. Doesn't help a whole bunch. But it helps a little bit. I assume that's the gate that we're trying to go through. So give me all of that. Is there... weapon degradation?
I can't go that way.
Because I'm not gonna be happy about that. I do like this hatchet better than the pipe, just on principle. So we're gonna stick with that for the time being. But I'm gonna be mad if my shit breaks. Okay. Hello? Ma'am, are you good? Fuck off. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. Don't throw that. I hear more gurgling. Who gurgle? Why gurgle? Sorry. You know, it was imperative before to make sure that we were getting all the bits. Getting all the things. It seems even more necessary now to, like, make sure that we are looting every area fully and completely. Because these guys kind of soak up bullets. Fuck. See, where'd he go? Oh, he's dead. Okay. Ah! Well, no, Carnby. Needless to say, combat's a tiny bit clunky. But that man doesn't have a head anymore, so that's kind of cool. I don't hate it. I don't hate the clunky combat so far. We'll see. Great. We'll see how it holds up if they decide to throw a ton of enemies at me. Because if that's the case, we're gonna have some problems. But for now, it's fine. Are you a Molotov? Okay. But I can't take it with me. I don't like that I can't take a throwable item with me. How do you know that this is hers? Have you been here before? I am sorry that he is so quiet. I don't know how to fix this. Unless... Hold on. Yeah. Yeah, no, I understand. What if we do... this? We need to look at Jeremy's notebook, which was the commonplace book. Was it the last page? Yeah. Top left one, right? 3, 5, 8. So I need 8 at the top. 8 at 12. 5 at... what would that be, like 5? And 3 at 6. There. Oops. Switch discs. There we go. Oh, wait. It's telling me which one's selected. Okay, I understand a little bit better. Eight. Right? Is that not correct? I'm basing it on what it shows on the left, or yeah, on the right-hand side. Which I guess is not... Okay, so maybe it's this way, actually. Yeah, okay. I understand. I was doing it backwards.
It's showing something. A place? Where is that?
That is so much louder.
Huh.
Okay, hold on. So sorry. We want him loud. Not that loud, though. Excuse me? I think lady has some bullets around here. Do you think that's something that she just has in store? Okay, well, that's the blanket that we saw. That's the painting. It just showed us this room.
Detective, I was wondering when you were going to show up. Mrs. Thompson told me you were here. I understand you are working for Jeremy Hartwood's niece.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you're not wrong. We came here for her uncle. I just didn't expect... I didn't expect this. You are Dr. Gray, right?
That's right. You don't happen to have some identification, Detective. I'm not keen on having strangers prying into my business. Oh, Detective Edward Carnby, Decatur Street, New Orleans. Enjoying the Vieux Carré, Detective? Those old French quarters, the voodoo people, the gangsters. I'm sure you live an exciting life.
Well, it's not quite like the stories, Doc. Just trying to make a living.
Aren't we all making a living? Well, welcome to Deseto, Detective.
I do not trust this man.
I hope your time here will be useful. Now, what can I do for you?
Why don't you tell me where I can find Jeremy Hartwood?
Why wouldn't that make for a short visit? I wish I could tell you, but I'm afraid I don't know. A drink, Detective?
Anything brandy.
Oh, you do belong in the French quarters, Detective. Armagnac or cognac?
You know, just give me the cheap stuff. I'm not much of a connoisseur.
Having low standards is not a virtue, Detective. Let me see if I can broaden your perspective.
What can you tell me about Jeremy?
I wouldn't want to go into details about his condition. Doctor-patient confidentiality. I'm sure you understand.
Sure, but he is crazy, and he's gone missing. Why?
Here, try this.
Ooh, it's good. Got a bite?
It's called a sidecar. The trick is not to be afraid of the tartness of the lemon. Then, for goodness sake, don't overdo the triple sec.
Okay, what can you tell me about Jeremy?
Well, let me think. He is an anxious man, constantly worried about events not presenting themselves according to his model of predestination. He complains about things not being carried out in the right order, and that some things simply shouldn't be. Is any of this helpful to you?
Not really. I was hoping for some direction where to look next.
I'm sorry. I have nothing for you then. You should talk to my orderlies. They have been looking for him for a while now. I'm sure they would appreciate your help.
Yeah, I ran into Batiste earlier. Come to think of it, he might have given me a lead.
Oh, excellent. So your investigation is already underway.
I'm gonna go, but I'm sure we'll meet again.
Looking forward to it. Safe returns.
That doctor is sketch as fuck. Just saying. Are we still in a cutscene? Yeah.
Detective Carnby, how did you... Where did you go?
I was just talking to Dr. Gray.
You disappeared.
No, it's not what you think. Have you found anything strange going on here?
Yes. Everyone is being incredibly evasive and I can't figure out why.
No, I mean something you can't explain. Paranormal, even.
Detective, I really need you to get yourself together. I can't do this alone.
Forget it. I'll figure it out.
Do you want to come see Dr. Gray?
No, I want to try something. With this talisman, I think I can follow Jeremy to the place he mentioned in the book. What was the name? Do you remember something Spanish? Tarawea. Yeah, that's where I need to go.
Detective, are you gonna be all right?
Yeah, of course. Go talk to Dr. Gray. We'll rendezvous later.
We've
this talisman
barely been here an
French Quarter in
hour.
the blink of an eye. If Jeremy can travel so easily, then he could be hiding anywhere, even Tarawea. If he can do it, so can I. I just need to figure out how the talisman works.
We've been here all of an hour and Carnby is already losing his shit.
Oh, you're right about the plates on the boiler and the clock. They have been sabotaged, and I think I know who did it. They have something to do with Jeremy's episodes and how he seems to disappear at night. Right now, it's important that you keep an eye out for any of the pieces. I want to find out if I can repair the plates. Let me know if you find any of them. Lottie.
Tell Lottie to take a look at the well in the kitchen garden.
I already found that one, is the thing. I don't mind them being that loud during like little sections like that. But we are going to turn them down just a tiny bit. What is this? Key to room 6. Wonderful. Staff and patient
Dr.
directory.
Elmore Lee Gray is DeSeto's chief doctor. Accounting and all administrative work is handled by me, Paul Waits. Magdalena Thompson, or Mags, is responsible for the household. Jean-Baptiste and Charlotte Tabois are responsible for keeping the guests' medical regimens in check. Finally, Jack Chance is our gardener, who can occasionally be seen in the conservatory, but is for the most part busy outside. There are currently 6 guests at DeSeto. Malcolm McCarthy and Ruth Tallant reside on the first floor. Jeremy Hartwood, Elisabetta Perosi, Grace Saunders, and of course, Cassandra Beauregard live on the second floor.
Okay. And then Jean-Baptiste and Charlotte, who are staff, are also on the second floor? Okay, whatever. Repairing the boiler.
Saw you notice in the boiler room. You should know Mr. Chance won't be coming back. I got no business being in there myself, but you can take a valve from the wine cellar if you want to try to stop the steam pouring out. Be careful.
Okay. Lots of good information in here. Delightful. Patient files. What do we got?
Cassandra Beauregard, the beloved author. Very exciting, isn't it? What do you want to put down for reason for admission?
What her agent told us. Cassandra suffers from writer's block and needs to finish her moving picture script before the end of June. Mr. Chardot suggests Cassandra's heavy use of barbiturates is holding her back and risks ruining her career.
And how should we summarize her personal history?
Let's keep it short. Cassandra Beauregard is a beloved crime author who managed to pull herself out of poverty and into stardom. 5 years ago, she tried killing herself by jumping off a balcony. The incident left her a cripple, and now relies heavily on her wheelchair.
And for diagnostic impressions?
Cassandra suffers chronic back pain following her suicide attempt. She self-administers morphine to keep herself ambulant, but has become addicted, and the desired effect is now lost. The drug abuse clouds her mind, and she is unable to focus on real life. To save herself from this insight, she instead makes up stories to fill out the gaps in her own thought process, resembling the Korsakoff syndrome.
Oh, bravo, Doctor. How will you treat her?
First of all, she needs to be weaned from her drug addiction, and hopefully it will resolve her compulsive lying. Then look into permanently numbing her pain in her back through surgery. Finally, deal with her suicidal thoughts.
Fantastic. With such a short time before June, I really hope she gets better soon.
We will do what we can.
Yeah, I don't trust this doctor.
All the patients are accounted for. Except there's no way I can get into this thing. Better leave it alone.
I didn't mean to interrupt him. Oopsies. It's fine. It's fine. Who needs to know what he was trying to tell me?
I need the key.
Okay, so Batiste's key won't work, and it's not room 6, so of course that one's not going to work. I had hoped that Batiste's key would do it, though. Okay. We have a lot of places to look. I assume since it's green, it's unlockable, so we could go to the library. Doesn't that sound lovely? Going back down there would be nice as well, just to see if we can get that piece now. Okay. Is there anything in here? Excuse me.
Lost Plantations of Louisiana, Thierry Briclot, 1917. Deseto was a small plantation on the eastern shore of Lake Pontchartrain. The land was considered difficult for industry and was sold for only $30 to Elijah Pickford in 1818. Pickford employed hundreds of workers from nearby New Orleans to clear the woods and build a small plantation mansion facing the lake with a striking Greek Revival temple facade. Deseto kept a modest production of barrique tobacco and indigo that persisted up till the Civil War. During the antebellum era, Deseto was the source of many rumors concerning voodoo and witchcraft. People who traveled the lake reported seeing people dance at night in front of bonfires, bleating and wailing. On June 17, 1862, Captain J.W. Norton of the Union Army recounts leading a raiding party from ships anchored in Lake Pontchartrain in order to seize control of Deseto and free the slaves working there. The captain was surprised to find the workers fighting back with unprecedented zeal. Norton's account describes these men and women as enraged with fanaticism. Pickford reportedly tried to placate the raiders, but was shot in the confusion. Captain Norton left the mansion burning and retreated to his ships with his men.
Okay.
Deseto was left in ruins for several decades. The ownership of the land was long disputed and returned to the Ledoux family in 1901. Several police reports were filed during the following years as the Ledoux tried to get rid of a camp of squatters on their land. The police made several visits to remove the trespassers, but the people kept returning. On November 1st, 1907, Inspector Legrasse of the police charged a deadly attack in order to save several children kidnapped by the squatters. Many were killed, and even more were
That
jailed.
escalated quickly.
The following year, Ledoux rebuilt Deseto, incorporating the surviving stone foundation and adding a magnificent wrought iron conservatory. The farmland had been reclaimed by the surrounding woods, so it was no longer profitable to use as a plantation. Instead, the house was turned into an artist's colony. The Astarte Artist Colony was a successful group of artists, including figures such as painter Heinrich Cassel and poet Nora Keith. The group was also known for their beloved Mardi Gras crew called the Pirates of Pontchartrain. On September 29th, 1915, a tropical hurricane tore through Louisiana, causing Lake Pontchartrain to flood New Orleans. Due to the remote location of their settle, it took almost 2 weeks for outsiders to learn that the artists' colony was abandoned. The 12 residing artists had all vanished without a trace. The empty mansion of their settle still stands on the shore of Lake Pontchartrain, with much of its temple facade intact. The Ledoux family currently has no intention of repairing the house.
Okay. When did it say this was written? Because it's very much not abandoned now. It was 1917. Okay. So it's been like 13 years. A lot can change in that amount of time. I get it. Is there anything over here? Not really. Okay. Can I have this? No? Oh. Okay. I guess I didn't want it anyway. Bugs. Is there anything I can loot?
It's wedged shut.
Oh, this is the... Okay, I understand where I am. That's the door that was wedged that apparently we can't unwedge even from this side. Excuse me? Oh, okay. I'm not allowed to run. Where do I go? Oh, I see. Bolt cutters! Yes! Should be able to access some things out in the garden then. You know, as soon as we get out of this bad situation. We good?
What happened? Everything's normal again? Right.
This is fine. We're definitely not worried or concerned about anything. It's out this way to the kitchen garden, right? Yeah. Yeah! I want you to put that... Never mind. I have to attach something to it. What is this? A mummified cat? Why is that here? There's enough slack in that hose for you to be able to pull it where it needs to go. Also, I saw that. Hold on. I'd like to open this first.
Got it.
Hose!
Nice.
Okay. Oh, shortcut. Nice. Okay, can I attach the hose to the hose? Does it have the right nozzles for that? It does. You'll love to see it. Okay. And now we turn it on? And then I can get the thing? What is that? What's in there? What are you? Just a little guy. Also, who was making all that noise? It did mention something about a wall where there might be another plate, right? Where was that specifically? No, that's Val from the cellar. Broken plates. Okay, that doesn't really tell me anything. Because we already knew that there was one out here. Excuse me. Oh, can I see Carnby's thing? Okay. Hold on. Excuse me. Where are we? Wine cellar is here. We've not been able to get in there just yet. And it's still locked. And the rest of these are all blocked, right? I assume if they're red, do they still have things in them? There's still something in that room? Just want to make sure I'm going the correct way. I am not. I need to go inside. To get to the kitchen. Because this is blocked now? Okay. Interesting. Well, then I guess we'll make our way there eventually. I know I could take the shortcut, but what if I don't? I assume I can't go up these still. Yeah, no, there is in fact a chain in the way. I understand. Okay, well, we have bolt cutters now, so that's exciting. I can't go through that door because it's got the thing wedged under it. There was nothing else in the library. Yes. What's in here? That's a bathroom. This is where we came from, right? No, this is where we came from originally when we first broke into the house. Wish that there was a map button, but there doesn't seem to be. There. I thought one of the notes we had mentioned something about, like, a hole in the kitchen wall or something. Maybe I'm just silly. It says that there's something in here. Can I use Batista's key?
I need the key.
No. I have used up his keys. Okay. Well, I guess we can go back inside and see if we can find room 6. Since we have the key for that. While we have one of... we have one of the plates that we need for the boiler. We're still missing one. So there's no point in going there. So let's go up here. That's the wedged door. And that's locked. Is that not the wedged door then?
It's wedged
No, it
shut.
is. I'm gonna get turned around in this mansion so much. Do I just go through here then? That's the library. This is the piazza. I know. Okay. I know what's happening. Not usually that bad at navigating. Like, I'm not great by any means. But that was embarrassing. Okay, let's see. Excuse me. I guess we go upstairs and just try and go through all the rooms, right? Because it looked like there was still something in Jeremy's room. Again, assuming that it's... that we're following Resident Evil logic. And if there is a room that is still red, that means there are items there. Oh, it's the clock. You mentioned that that was broken too, right?
I need the key.
Or that it was missing pieces?
Looks like some kind of rot.
Ew.
It's supposed to be the clock that Jeremy wrote about in the commonplace book. Huh. Looks like the plate that held the talisman in the seance room. But it's broken and missing some pieces.
I thought that was for the boiler. Do I get that back? No. Okay. I guess that lives there. Oh!
Yeah, sorry, Detective. Didn't mean to obstruct justice or anything.
That's fine.
You know, I'm kind of busy with my own case of a missing person. I was wondering if you've seen Grace, a girl about yay high?
Can't say that I have. Why are you asking?
Well, I'm looking for her.
Is she in trouble?
No. She's just hiding somewhere. We can't have a rascal like that running around unchecked at a time like this, you understand?
Well, I haven't seen her.
Well, let me know if you find her. I'll be around. I'll keep an eye out for your man, Jeremy. You scratch my back, Detective, and I'll scratch yours.
No wonder Jeremy thinks everyone's out to get him. Everyone here is a fucking freak. Oh my goodness. Might have to take a quick short break again because I'm out of water. And I also need to grab my lunch so I can do and eat. Emily is here.
Emily's here.
Great. Is that from Grace, the little girl? Okay, I still can't open the trunk. I don't have a key for it. Whose room is this? Batiste's room. Got anything good, sir? No. Got a fountain pen. EP. Amazing stories. That everything that was here? Guess so. Alright, well. What can you do? It is a little annoying how many of these containers are just empty. Hi, Devo. Wait, is that... It is room 6, okay. Hello?
Huh. How eccentric.
Yeah, my god. What are these? James McMahon.
These paintings got some grim-looking rot on them.
Wait. Like this? Do I have to match the color of the rot? Have I done it? What did that do? What is this?
The starting artist colony. I remember hearing about their disappearance. Must have been 15 years or more now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Rossi's
I
journal.
need to remember how to get them out again. They are locked up for good reason. I am sure she is still able to whisper the answer in the ears of the wrong people. But not for long. I will see her burned soon enough.
That black goat will be sacrificed to put an end to it all. Then it will all be over. No more Derceto, and sadly, no Astarte. Those good pirates of Pontchartrain. May you still sail the lake, until you find the shores of Hali.
Okay. And we've got zodiac symbols. Not... Sagittarius is 11. Oh, no, that makes sense. Because that's... Okay, yeah. No, they're just in order. Okay. I understand. I mean, we'll probably need that for a puzzle later, but...
What are these
Oh.
symbols? Looks like alchemy or star constellations.
It's constellations. Hold on. It was just marked 1, 10, and 11, right? Is it Aquarius, Scorpio, Sagittarius? I didn't see. No. Okay, what's this?
I did it! I crossed the thresholds to my intended destination without a focusing device. My talisman now knows these roads, and I have no need for the plates. I can find my way to Lafayette as easy as I find my own room. I visited the grave of my father and seen the oven waiting for me. Thank you for opening these doors. I now must summon my courage and go back to that hateful mound outside the oil rig. I hope you'll be feeling better when I return. Jeremy.
Cool. Jeremy, that's fine. Let me go run and refill my water real fast. And grab my food. It's not gonna take long. I'm not moving to the BRB screen because of it. See, I'm back already. I got some quinoa salad. And I got my water. Also have quinoa just everywhere. Oh my god. Sometimes you just gotta make a mess. Okay, that didn't really tell me anything. As far as... Oh, actually... Is it the 3 that aren't there, that aren't listed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's only half of them, right? 2/3 of them. No, it's fine. They're all numbered. Okay, so we are missing... I can't flip them again. Ah, hey! How? Yeah, no, I understand. I need to cross-reference. Well, maybe, okay, maybe it's actually the ones that are visible. That would make more sense. William Argus, Argus, Mossig, Heath. Argus, Mossig, Heath. Argus is 2. I need my paper. Give me my paper. 2. Mossig is 9. And Keith is 4. So then we got 2 is Pisces. 4 is Taurus. And then Libra gonna be 9. So Pisces, Libra, Taurus. Okay. Okay. Pisces, Libra, Taurus.
Got it.
Got it. Hey, it's the other key plate. Or broken plate, excuse me. Okay. So then do I use that on the clock? Oh. Oh. Okay. Needless to say, I did get very confused. Ew. Okay, can't shoot them. Why is it so squishy? Okay, we just ignore the worms. Just ignore the worms. We walk around the worms. Okay. Yeah, all right.
What's going on? I think
use
I've
that.
seen this somewhere.
Can I rotate? That's not quite right, I don't think. Hold on. What's this?
There was something in the commonplace book about this.
Listen, I understand. It's mostly an issue of understanding buttons right now. That goes there. This doesn't quite feel right. And that's definitely not right. That's correct. Okay. And then this one goes here. This goes there. That goes there. I think. There we go. We did it.
I think the clock broke. Or maybe it just stopped at a very precise place.
Okay, hold on. 3, 4, 6. Tiny, middle, large. 3, 4, 6. I do kind of understand how that's supposed to line up now.
There's a picture in the black glass. It's showing me something. It's the hallway.
Yeah.
Outside Jeremy's room.
Okay, well, I don't want to go back in there because it was bad in there. Up until a minute ago. Did we try to go in here? Yeah, it's barred. Hello? Well, I don't like that. Gotta go to the bad mound outside the oil rig?
I entered another one of Jeremy's
The
notes.
hateful mound? Right, that's what he called it. Okay, there is nothing here. And I can't go down that way. Okay. But that is where we're supposed to go. It looks real cool. We gonna... Yeah, just taking a peek around at everything to see if there is anything I can loot. Because I don't think... Yeah, I don't have that many bullets. And I feel like they're gonna make me do a fight a few times in this area. And so, you know.
May 1923. Monday. All okay. Ready for delivery. Maintenance. Oil pump must be serviced. Any tampering causes large spills unless properly forestalled. Tuesday. Shipment delayed but delivered. Maintenance. Service bridge close to broken. Wednesday. Prospectors reluctantly agreed to show the burial mound to Mr. Hotwood, a painter, who read about our finds in the papers. He means to return tomorrow and try to find a way inside. Thursday. Mr. Hotwood's efforts delayed. The workers seemed nervous about his presence. Hotwood promised not to return to the compound. Instead, he has taken up an offer by L'Officier, the riverboat captain, who means to pilot him to the site tomorrow morning. Hopefully that's the end. Work can resume. Maintenance. Bridge from the oil tower to the bayou has collapsed. Sabotage suspected.
This is the devil that guides us now.
All right. I am going to take those reading sections as a moment to be able to do a neat. Not quite at the point where I'm like, I really need food, but I know I need to eat because it's been a number of hours. So we can do a little snacky snack. If I do need to, like, stop and do a proper eat, though, I will. Because it's important to take care of yourself.
I need the key.
Yeah, I don't have that. Okay. Do I have a map? My map is of no use here. Cool. Love that. Can I go up here? No. A little weary about what? Don't tell me there are things to throw.
Locked.
Hello? Oh, there's nothing here. If I let go, it's gonna... Yeah. Sad. I wanted that. I do wish that I could just, like, pocket... I got a jetty key. Pocket a throwable item. I don't want to, like, carry a whole bunch with me. Let me only carry one at a time. That's fine. But, like, let me carry a throwable, you know? Can I drink? No, I'm full on health. I'm not allowed to drink. It's fine. God, they really do only give you, like, a couple bullets at a time, huh? I know that that's the point. I get it. I understand, but also... The fuck was that? Thought it was an alligator, but I don't think that was a gator. Alright, I have a jetty key. Can I use that in the other building we were in? In here, perhaps? 'Cause I need some sort of valve, right? Rude. Was there... Hold on. Here. That's where the door was. I see you over there. Oh. Oh, there's a few of them, huh? Okay, you know what? They're not bothering anybody. They're just having a nice time, splish splashing in the bayou. Who am I to stop them from doing that? We got the bridge lever.
Got it.
What was that? Do I want to hop down? I guess I do. I'm not gonna take the pipe because I like the hatchet. I hear somebody gurgling. Oh, 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 oh. Hey, it's not a gator. Oh, God. Okay, well, it's fine.
Worked.
We just need to watch out for horrible swamp creatures. We understand now. What is all of this gunk? Somebody over here? And by somebody, I mean something. I want items, not enemies, please. That's fine. It's not gonna give me anything nice, and I understand. I get it. I do. I didn't want that. I want to keep my hatchet because I feel better with a hatchet. Okay, I am full on health. We don't need to worry about health. Oh God! Okay. New hatchet. It's weird that they keep giving me, like, melee weapons when they've not broken yet, but it makes me think that they're gonna break. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Okay. Carnby, how are you feeling? Only had a little bit of a hit. said something about breaking barricades?
Looks pretty weak.
Like this?
I just need something to break it.
Like that. That's what you want me to do. Sir. Shovel? Don't mind if I do. No. Give me my shovel back. This is mine now. You don't get to take that away from me. Is this where? No, I came from the sky. Cool. There's nothing in there. I love not getting items. It is my favorite. Jesus Christ, okay. Can we... There's nothing around here. I've gotten all the things that are available to us. It is time to go through the barricade. I get it. There are a lot of guys out there. Just hanging out, huh? You know what? As long as they stay out there. I see Guy. Will we be cool? If I just leave you there and don't come bother you. Can we be cool? Oh, but there's a thing there and he's definitely gonna get up, huh? Yeah. Hook! Great. Sorry, Guy. I didn't want to hurt him. And there's nothing here. Ah. Okay. All right. Rude. I just wanted to look at the bit with no problems. Also, there's a... Yeah, there's a few of them over there, huh? At least 2, possibly 3. Cool. What's in there? Why is that music going? Before I go to the music. Why are you humming? Can't just do that. We're doing okay on bullets for now. Still think I'm gonna just keep using my melee weapon until either it becomes impractical or... Is that my sneak button? It's not quite a crouch. I'm gonna keep using melee until it becomes impractical or my weapon breaks. No, I don't think so. Is that the way? Okay, before we go there. Fuck. But I was sneaking. Carnby! Okay, your ship breaks. I'm just gonna fix our health. I'm gonna go back and get another shovel because there was another one over here. Mostly just wanted to... Don't feel like an ore is going to be particularly strong. So let's go get the shovel that was in here. Items break kind of quickly. It seems. Especially if you... It might just be that I've like, exclusively used heavy hits on these guys. That was a science moment, though. Okay, what's going on in here? It's hard to tell where they want me to actually go. I want to go where they don't want me to go. There's somebody gurgling in there. Horrible, horrible creature. Pistol ammo is full. Are you gonna be one of those where I have to, like... You are gonna be one of those. Where you gotta refill your... Or reload your gun in order to pick up more ammo. That annoys me. Just, like, in general, not specifically because it's this game. Just let me have, like, a set amount of ammo that I can carry at any given time, regardless of whether whatever gun I'm using has been reloaded. Okay, and I do still have my shovel. If I sneak, does it actually do anything? That's in here. Nothing. Definitely hear somebody gurgling, though. Hate that. You fool. What? Oh. No. Nah. He popped out to go check out the thing that I threw. I understand. Okay. I don't like sneaking. Is what I've landed on. But we can deal with it. It's not the most egregious mechanic I've ever come across. It does seem to kind of work.
Way to get to the other side.
What is that? Oh boy. You wanna go over there, buddy? No, he does not. Okay. Okay, I kind of see what its pattern is. Yeah, hi, guy. We'll just, do that. And we'll go up here, and no one's going to know that anything happened. I don't seem to have to balance, I just go very slow. I can cope with that. Oh! I need to go fast, because everything is on fire! Oh! Okay, we can hustle. We can go a little quickly.
Now what?
Well, we grab this. We grab that tough cloth. And we...
When you rather fall to your death.
Nope, we're doing it, bud. It's happening. Oh boy. This is creepy. I like it. There's not... Just about to say, there's not really enough horror that takes place in swamps. Which are just, like, innately creepy at times. Oh my god. It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing, and it's looking at me, and I don't want to be here anymore. Oh. Maybe it cannot see me. Oh. Okay. I am scared. It is tense. I don't know where it is. It sounds like it's right next to me. I could run. Oh boy, could I run. But I'm not going to. Okay, it does sound further away now, at least.
It's the hateful mound Jeremy talked about in his book.
Oh, we got some stuttering. Yeah, let's just go in whole.
Don't come any closer. I'm armed.
Get that thing out of my face.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
I'm just a detective trying to find something called Teruea.
You after Jeremy too? Why?
I'm working for his niece. She wants to make sure he's alright.
He might be unharmed, but far from alright. He's a curse upon Deseto.
Here we go again.
What?
Oh, Christ in heaven.
Why did he do that? Why would he do that? Oh my god. Soon enough to slide through a crack in the door. I can unwedge door. But also...
Reflections on the Power of the
Oh my
Verb
God.
in Certain Texts by Juan Luis Jorge. To act is in itself divine. Even the slightest movement of our hand is evidence of our soul in motion. Yet our free will is so easily overwhelmed by the dullness of everyday life. Our actions become rote and rigid, in spite of luxury and comfort. True divinity is found in the choice of leaving the stage where we all perform. People who discover this freedom unexpectedly will be struck by the terror of this revelation and become paralyzed, or worse, turn to suicide. However, if you are able to weather that storm, you will discover that there is a divine path beyond that fear. There is a chance to dismount your destiny and make something new. Something that hasn't been planned for or predestined. There is difficulty in explaining this type of acting, as it transcends our everyday choices. This isn't some banal decision choosing one career over the other, or even who I should marry. Leaving the stage, no matter how, isn't a matter of course correction. It's a rejection of the story that the creator is telling.
Okay. What's this? The Great Library. And a sitting room key.
Ooh.
I want that. Is this the wedged door?
It's wedged shut.
In fact, it is.
It worked.
Can I have that? Oh wait, are there multiple wedged doors then? Okay.
I don't think I have everything I need.
Barlow lens
The
instructions.
Barlow lens. Instructions. To double the magnification of your telescope, simply fit this Barlow lens to your instrument. Then operate the fine tuners to adjust the distance between your lenses. This is easily done while looking through your eyepiece. Simply search for a position where your picture is clear and appears flat. When correctly tuned, your telescope should present a clear picture with magnificent magnification.
Okay. So I guess we'll need to find Taurus and locate the Great Library with that then. Cellar key! Delightful. Dog collar! Oh, I found a set? I got an achievement for finding a set. Lost children. Okay. Great. There is nothing in this box. There is so much nothing in all of these boxes. Okay, we have a sitting room key. And excuse me, and the cellar key. I have a palette knife to get rid of more wedged doors, which should be able to access from here, right? Or at least I can get to the cellar from here. Oh. Never mind. Not allowed. Yes. No, that's not the way. Little thing's still in that bucket. I guess we'll go up here. Just go up this way. Map. Where are we? Servant stairs. I can't get there. No, I can. I'm like right where I need to be. Okay. I have a vague idea of where I am. I kind of know what's happening.
It's wedged shut. It worked.
There we go. What horrible location have I found myself in this time? A location with nothing. Love. Oh.
Detective Carnby, how good of you to come. Let me pour you a drink.
What happened here? This place looks like it was hit by a bomb.
Welcome to the madhouse, Detective.
Thanks. Did the ceiling just collapse?
I heard it was something in the attic, something that was supposed to happen but didn't. How that could have such consequences is beyond me. The truth is, I don't know why the room looks like this. But I bet your friend Jeremy does.
You know where I could find him?
Oh, somewhere in his past, I suppose. He keeps going on about that mysterious dark man. I think he is hiding from him. Or maybe he's with him. I can't really keep up. I don't worry much. Take a look around this room. You may think it looks spectacularly devastated, but I just think it's finally found its stride. It fits perfectly with the state of this place and its loonies. The same goes for the nonsense with Jeremy. In my eyes, we finally managed to match the wild ride inside all of us.
Well, I'm happy you find the evening so harmonious. I hope you don't mind me setting things right. Jeremy's business, that is. This room looks beyond my capabilities.
Good luck, Detective. Hope to see you again soon.
Yeah. Evening, miss.
Yeah, all right, ma'am. Whatever you say, lady. It's a little hard to believe that people come here for like any sort of treatments. I'm a little confused. Beignets. Delicious. I should probably go around the other side first. I guess I can talk to her one more time. Probably nothing like too important, but what the fuck? Okay, hold on. Hey, lady.
Can I get some more of that whiskey?
Go ahead, Detective. I don't think I can stomach anymore anyway.
It's empty. It's empty. There's no more whiskey. It's all gone. Okay, what is here? What's on the other side of this place anyway? A stairwell that is blocked. Oh, no, okay, I know where that leads. Okay. Good deal. That just goes back to like where the patient rooms are. Which would be good to visit again at some point, but for now, we can probably just, you know, disregard. Locked. Even though I can see the symbol ahead of time, I still like to just double check. Because I don't know if just walking past it will mark it on my map. I could check, but I'm not gonna.
On the commonplace of evil, there lies virtue and stark irreverence, careless thoughts of luminous indifference. But blame not the beast we once were, which science so often wished to refer. Not the wicked full of sin, it is you who stand and grin. All our good intentions aside, whereupon we build our pride. Sunless solitude, follow not this corrupting light. Prophets of confidence always crashes out of sight. Hear me, for we all bear this mark. Thus we must remain alone in the dark.
Title drop.
That aggressive rot.
Oh, there is. Look, this just looks like a mold problem. I stand by this just being a mold issue. Consider. Spray it down with some bleach. Where am I? Oh, we're in the servants' stairs. Okay. It's going. We're doing all the things. We've been in bad places a few times. Do I have the key for this? No, I do not. We're investigating. We're looking at lots of mold. It sure is happening. No, I'm liking it so far. I wish that the puzzles were a little more involved thus far, but you know what? Maybe they'll amp up a little bit. We'll see. Delicious, delightful mold. We're still stuff in here. Drawing room is where the telescope was, right? What is this? What's this? It's a syringe. Great. That's blocked, so I can't get in there. Right. I understand. Sorry, I am just gonna check my map constantly because I will very much get lost. Is there something else in here? Yeah, it's literally right here. Medicine box key. Okay, hold on. Back to Lottie's room. I can't go. I can't get there from there. Hey, that's that door that's blocked that I can't get through. Lottie's room is off this way, and that funny little medicine box should be right here. Medicine box key. We got Dr. Jenkins' lozenges. One of several medicines prescribed to the author Cassandra Beauregard. This particular bottle contains tablets said to relieve sore throats and contain 2 vital vitamins. 2? Okay. Well, now where? There's still stuff in Lottie's room. Ma'am, what are you hiding in here from me? I see nothing. Oh. Just kidding. I found it. Is that everything that's in here? How's your morning going, Emmy? How are you doing? Excuse me. I can get into the cellar now, right? And I can get into the sitting room. Where are we closest to the cellar? I mean, we're pretty close to both, but the cellar is closest. Ah, jeez. But you've done it, and she survived, and you've done it. Good job. Cellar this way? Cellar? Hi, rat. Cellar. Alright, what horrible thing awaits me in here? Aside from giant-ass cockroaches. Horrible. Oh! Oh boy! What's this? It's a Forsaken Crucifix. And a switch for a fuse box. Where is the fuse box? We are following a wire, which does not go through this way. Oh, I see it. It's literally right here. Okay, put that switch in there. Well, I hate that. Yeah, it worked, but now it's horrible and dark. You have the valve handle, though, which we need for the boiler room. Okay, I would like to not be in this horrible place anymore. Kinda hate it. Kinda bad. Oh. I see you over there, guy. Oh, he wiggled. He needs to stop wiggling. Ah! Okay. Well. Can we put the valve in here and make that stop? Great. What? Now what? I don't hear any gurgles. Oh! No, that's the doctor, isn't it? What is this? Good morning, Salvia. Was it a good nap? Okay, this is fine.
Body.
Away. Corpse left. What's this? Broken plate. Right? Holy barnacle. Oh, barnacles. Okay, well, we're here now. So that's cool. It was one of those dimension shifting naps where you wake up confused. Ah, jeez. Ah, heck. What's this? Pieces of plate.
Mr. Waits, I saw a piece of the plate that Liza broke. I think she's been hiding them. She's not very good at it. She just chucked it into the little room with all the tools behind the boiler.
We appreciate feeling rested even after a dimension shifting nap.
By picking it up while she was looking. We went upstairs instead and played backgammon. I let her win. Because she's so unhappy. The piece looked like the one on display in Cassandra's room. You know about that one already, right? Or is your eyesight really that fuzzy? I hope you don't feel bad about your glasses. You only look stupid when you squint.
Grace!
If you had more eyes, you would see these things. I wish you had all the eyes you needed. Your best and favorite guest, Grace.
Did we just see Mr. Waits? And the barnacles were eyes, actually? Also, I'm sorry, y'all. We gotta take a quick break, because I gotta piss again. I have drunk so many fluids today. So, be right back. Siegfried Nightmare, and I think I'll share a voice with Groundling from Ocarina of Time. In okay. Japanese voice actors. I see. Interesting. Who is making this bad noise? Is it you? I don't like. Get out of here, Knife Man. Alright, buddies. Look here. I am not feeling it right now. We're just gonna... Like, we're only reading it for the first time. Am I a murderer?
Hear a lot of nasty rumors.
Are you gonna do enemy villain classes? Whoa! Hey bud, I can see your insides. I didn't like that. Demon Dick and Demon Wolf. That's all on me. But yeah, you're right. Demon Wolf. Alright. What's going on here? Why deal with spikes? Oh, fuck. Never mind. That's why deal with spikes. No! Stop! Wow.
Here, let's do it. Here? Can you still hear me? I feel like that's... looks like it's very loud. Is it perfect? Oh, is it on now? Oh, no! I'm so sorry!
We're back. We're here. We're ready to go.
It's another plate for the talisman. The other one is broken and missing some pieces.
Go ahead and put that there. And head up to Cassandra's room to find the other plate. Why were you opening that so slowly, Carnby? Hey, bud? Hey, pal, friend, guy. Is this... Wait, where am I going? I'm going towards the sitting room, right? But that is upstairs, so I have to go back through the stairwell and the mezzanine and go over to the patient's rooms. Okay. I know where we're headed. Nobody worry. Panic is unnecessary. We got this. I think. Can I go down here yet?
I need the key.
No. Despite the fact that the keys are labeled, I will try and use every key that I have on everything. I know that that's the door I needed to go through, but I also realized I didn't check on what's up here, and I would like to. So check we shall. Wait, what? Hello? Okay, that's it. We're done. We checked. Can't go in. We'll just continue on to the sitting room. Through the mezzanine. Oh, lady is gone. Bye, lady. A brightness from afar. Is that everything that's here in the mezzanine? I'm not. It is. Not sold on trying to do a 100% run. Because it's my first time through. However, not opposed to it in the future. And trying to get as much as we can while we can. It's a good thing. Just Jeremy's room that still has a thing in it, right? And that's because he has that trunk that we've been unable to open just yet. That's barred. Is it here? It's here. Let's go.
There's something missing.
Yeah, it's a chunk of Europe. It's Brexit? I think that included more than just the UK, but
This must be
it's
that
fine.
kid's room.
What gives you that idea? A small request?
Don't you worry, Grace. Go play your game, bleat and bellow with the others. I won't be jealous. There will be more masquerades. However, I would love it if you would finish my mask for the feast. With love, Ruth.
Okay. That's gonna jump scare.
Huh.
That wasn't that bad. I was expecting it would get, like, stuck. And then scare us when we walked away. Okay. Is that everything that's in here? No, there's something more. Grace, what are you hiding in your room? Ooh. No, that was just a shadow. Oh, can I do something more with this? Okay. Also, sorry, I want to check to see if there is a button specifically for my map, because I haven't... No, there's not. That's a bit of an oversight, I think. I mean, it's like 2 clicks away from being easily accessible, but still annoys me. Just let me hit M to open my map. Ah! What is that? Nothing.
What you got there? You drawing something?
Nothing special. I'm just bored.
Do I know you from somewhere?
I remember you, Mr. Conby.
From where?
Don't touch that. Cassandra wouldn't like it. She wouldn't like it at all.
Do you know where she is?
I'd rather not talk about it. It makes me upset. Besides, she'll be back after the Feast of St. John.
You think?
Yup. It's all on the page, Mr. Conby. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt.
All right.
I'm gonna go now, if that's okay. I don't like to stay too long in the same place. Mr. McCoffey might find me.
Hey. Is he mean to you?
Not everyone needs to be saved, Mr. Conby. You should know that by now.
Child says some weird prophetic nonsense, and our response is, all right.
So this is where Cassandra Beauregard ended up. For some reason, I thought she died years ago. There's more of that rot again. Like it's guiding me to do something. But what?
Not great.
I don't think I have everything I need. If I find the full set of bottles, then maybe I can make something out of the stains of rot. It's another one of those strange padlocks.
Okay. But I don't have any clues. Oh, here's the other bottle. It's some Margrave liniment. Your medicine.
Miss Beauregard, I picked up your medicine at the post office today. As you understand, it needs to be administered by the orderlies for your safety. I've put the box in Lottie's room for now, and I'm sure she will find you as soon as possible. Mr. Waits.
I mean, we already found that. We already got that. That's handled. Move a bottle, place bottle, rotate.
The rot made the shape of a snake. There must be something important to find here. Maybe it has something to do with the numbers on the labels.
257? That would be Pisces. Cancer? Hold on.
The medicine box.
Sorry. Scares me when she starts talking at me. 5. Excuse me, Gemini. And then Leo. So, Pisces, Gemini, Leo. And there it is. It's the other broken plate we need. Great. Is there anything else in here that I can steal? I would like to know. Nope. We've gotten everything. Okay, cool. What is in here? Again, it is very concerning that, like, people are coming here for medical treatments. I don't think this place should be allowed to be lived in at the moment, let alone used as any sort of medical facility. Okay, and I don't have the key for that yet. So, it is time to go back to the boiler room, which we can do from here? Not that one. End of the hall. Through the mezzanine. Down through the stairwell. Back through the room. And down we go. Let's go. His footsteps are so heavy. My guy. We need to go over here. I'm digging it so far. I'm a little... I mean, the story's been a little lackluster thus far, but honestly, like, I'm enjoying it. I'm having a nice time. Is this is... I know where we're going. Okay. That is definitely... piece that goes on the bottom. Same with you? Not? No. You go like that. You go here. Please rotate. You go there. I think this is right. No. This doesn't quite feel correct. If I could rotate the pieces consistently, that would be cool. You go there, which means you go there. You are fine as you are. No. There. Sorry. Nope. I keep hitting all of the wrong buttons, is what's happening here. There we go. And then you go like that. You go like... Sorry, using Z and X to rotate is just very strange. There we go. No. My God. There. That's better. To an extent. You're wrong. Okay. Took me way longer than it should have, but hey. Okay, tiniest is 5, then 7, then 9. So let's start with the tiny, which is 5. Oops. 7. I went the wrong way, but that's okay. There we go.
Black glass is showing another room. Must be a way to another one of Jeremy's memories.
Okay. Is that in here? Why did that door open? Hello? It might have been the cellar. Well, it does kind of seem like it is. Wait.
I knew it. I knew it would work. You're getting good at this, Carnby. Maybe a little too good at this.
Just rolling with it at this point. Just accepting that everything is weird and strange and reality doesn't work the way that it should. Okay. Carnby, where are we going? What's the plan, buddy? Trying to keep an eye out for items to nab. That's a throwable. Don't care about that. Okay.
The Hartwood's family crypt. Emily's family must have deeper roots in New Orleans than I thought. I figured she was a Yankee like me.
Jeez. Okay. No. Nothing else in there. Just a little insight about Emily. Why is it so dark over here? And anything good? Any bits? You can hear this horrible squelch that happens every once in a while. I think just like as an ambient noise. And I hate it. Give me that. We got the blessing. Well, it goes here.
No,
Look, it's a circle. Rotate.
Got it.
Ooh, sledgehammer. Fuck off. Yeah, no, I don't think so, sir. Not today. Oh my god. Okay, so we need 2 more plates, right? From the looks of it. But are there any bullets? Because I would like to have some bullets. That's a single bullet. Preferably, I would like bullets plural. But I guess I can't be too greedy. It's fine, it's just a bird. Is there something cool over here? Like bullets and health. You love to see it. I see that guy over there. Just wobbling around. I'm not here. You don't see me. No, he definitely sees me. Okay. Sir, if you could back off for just a second. There we go. Hi, stars. Oh, I'm sorry that the 2FA is being a butthole. But I'm happy that you're here. I mean, I'm sorry that it hates stars, and definitely not you. Thank you for the contribution to the gummy hunt, friend. How are you doing? Aside from, yeah, totally not stars. Definitely 100%, it's not stars. Oh no, that's fine. We'll pick this up as soon as ad ends. Oh, ad end? Ad ended? Ad ended? I thought that was a monster. It is just a reflection on the water. But yeah, aside from 2FA being a butthole, how's it going? How are you doing? Not the fork knife ad. I'm glad you've been released. But yeah, how's your Saturday going? Yeah, I know about sneaking. Sneaking doesn't really do much. I feel that on the deepest level possible. I'm glad you're existing. I'm glad that you're here. I hope that life stops being weird for you as soon as possible. Because it's not nice when it's weird. I just got jump scared by a tree. Oh, don't look at me. No, don't look at me. Oh god. Okay. We can be so happy that we exist together. It's a day to exist. Is this a thing I can steal? No. Hey, kitty cat? What's this horrible noise you're making? Oh my goodness, okay. I know I said I was gonna stream for a long time. Technically have. It's been 3 hours. We'll probably wrap up a bit after this section. So I'm starting to get a little sleepy. I think I need a little something more to eat. A crucifix as a weapon? Really? That seems less than ideal. I could hear someone gunking over here. Maybe I was just imagining it. Or maybe I wasn't. Give me those bullets. What is down here? Is this the way they wanted me to go? It feels like this is the way they wanted me to go. Well, we're gonna go back. There was a little place I could sneak through, I think. Through here? Okay. I just want this guy to go away. Oh! Oh! Didn't realize he was... Ow! Ow! Okay. Carnby, you have to reload, bud. Oh my god! You chugged that alcohol. I didn't realize that he had a charge move like the other guys did. That was my bad. Incredibly my bad. I've just replaced everything that I used, is all that's happened by coming over here. Oh, boy! Well, hold on. Oh my god, excuse me. Am I certain about that? That's just a melee weapon. Yeah, I've just replaced everything that I used to get back here. Rude. Can't believe they would do this to me. Okay, there's not really anywhere else that I can go. That's a sledgehammer, which I dropped for a crucifix. Bit of a downgrade, if you ask me. We zoom in. Someone's gurgling. Fuck! Stop gunking! I am hitting the melee button! Oh, God! Oh, Lord! We are gonna explode today! Oh! Okay, let's do another drink. Let's refill our health. Give me that plate, and I would like to not be here anymore, I think. This was a bad hole that we have put ourselves in. Hi. You're just a loud guy. Give me that. This crucifix sucks. I mean, I should have known. But even still. Okay, give me that. Let's up here. Give me those. I'm always in need of bullets. Hi. Carnby, please move. Oh, that's too many guys. We're just gonna... Okay, okay. I get it. Point taken. You know what? That wasn't too bad. And look. Another sledgehammer. For me. Can I go in here? Or is this how I got here? This is how I got here. Okay. Heck. This is where I need to go, right? This is the one that was blocked before? Okay, that's fine. Let's go, buddy. Why are we... Why are you doing that? I make quieter splashing sounds. That's not what I was gonna say. It's fine. There. And then... there? Okay. Oh, do you want me to rush? What are we doing? What's the plan here, Carnby? Oh, it's bones. Bet we could get a lot of teeth down here. Just saying. Okay, I would like to not be in the bad water anymore. What's this? Bullets? Oh, fuck! I've made a terrible mistake coming this way. Oh my god.
Too many of them. I gotta get out of here.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, I hate it here. I regret everything. Oh! Scared the piss out of me. That was cool. I liked that. Sufficiently scared. Okay. Oh, and the last one. Okay. Get me out of here.
Now what do we got here?
Let's go. Let's go.
Thank God that's over.
Yeah, I'm kind of happy to not be down there anymore. TBH. Is there anything cool over here? Pretty sure I've already looked around here. Never mind, I have not looked over here before. Do we have things that I want? That's a throwable. Don't care about that. That is a dead person. I saw nothing. I think I have to come here later. Okay. Let's open up this mausoleum. Since we have all 3 plates now.
Huh.
I understand. Is that not correct? Oh no. Okay, hold on. Oh. Nope. Okay. It's not as bad as I thought it was. I was like, how am I supposed to know? It's so that they're all right side up. There we go.
Please don't touch her. Jeremy. What are you doing here? Everyone's looking for you.
I know, it's all a big mess. No one understands. I'm just trying to keep evil at bay. Just for a little while longer.
You've got to come back with me. Your niece is waiting at Tercero.
Emily? Why would you... My letter. I keep making it worse.
What is going on, Jeremy? How is any of this happening?
I made a terrible promise with someone.
The Dark Man. Who is he?
No, don't say his name. He can hear us. He's always listening.
Jeremy, I need to understand what is going on.
I promised him everything. When the sun rises, I will be chained in his sunken desert temple for an eternity. But at least the evil about to awaken in Deseto won't harm anyone outside of that cursed place.
You're acting crazy, Jeremy. I want to help.
There's nothing you can do.
Then what's all the business about Teruea? Why did you want to go there?
I can't go there. Not allowed.
But you wanted to. Can I go? Tell me, will it help me to break your pact? Is there something there that would help?
Why would you give me hope? That's so cruel.
Okay. Sounds like we're onto something here. What should I...
Look out! Behind you! Run! Don't let him take you!
Ah, jeez. Right? Hope. So cruel.
I've
my
seen so
everything?
many strange occurrences lately. Memories explode into existence and then burn out like tired glass bulb filaments. Dreamscapes crash down from the stars and sink into the sea. Doors that lead to nowhere and absolutely everywhere at once. With all this reverie, I want to think there's a chance that you found a way to remain alive in some way I cannot fathom. Just like I've learned to navigate with my talisman. Maybe you, with all your knowledge, you somehow knew a way to find me again. Perhaps in Teruea. All my love, Jeremy.
Poor guy. Oh, I can get into his luggage now. Is this... Who's this?
She's dead. No matter how she died, she looks peaceful now.
Well, that's good. That she looks peaceful. Not that she's dead. Let's go to Jeremy's room. Do that, and then probably call it there. I need to go eat some food. Need to make some food. I'm gonna make some nuggets. Gonna make some chicken nuggies.
The telescope lens. Why would he lock that up?
Because we need it for the telescope. Because that's where the Great Library is. How do I get there? To the room with the telescope. Not there. What is... Oh, right. There's that globe that we can't access just yet. Grand parlor. Dining room. Gotta go back to the library. This is not the way I wanted to go. I know where I want to go. I just got turned around. I am understanding the floor plan of the mansion. We'll call it a mansion a little better. Still quite a lot to navigate. I will still constantly check my map because I like to know where I'm going. But this should more or less be able to get where we need to go from here. Oops. Yeah. Yeah. We go through here, and then we cut through the library. And then we get out of here and into here. Let's put that lens in there. There we go.
Whoa.
Hey, yo. That's creepy. Peacock. Is that a swan? Okay, I'm not entirely sure. No, that seems right. This needs to go here though. That needs to go there. That goes there. There we go. It's a bull. I understand now. 947? Oh, it's already doing it for me.
What's going on? It's dialing in something all on its own and it's showing the way to another memory? Where is that?
That is a good question. I'm not sure. I mean, it'll take us where we need to go, and it did just save. Didn't realize that I've needed to do hard saves, but there we go. It's also not 1:30 p.m., but whatever. Let's quit to menu. That's all of that we're doing for today. Yeah, I'm having fun with this. I like it. It's Alone in the Dark. It's cool. We're digging it. It's just a very mellow day is the main thing today. Well, thanks for hanging out and being here. I appreciate y'all so dang much. Like I said, I have some like general plans on things that I want to do. I do want to play the original Alone at the Dark at some point, and that'll be for YouTube, like exclusively, just because it can be a little tedious at times, from what I have heard. Gonna try and get my neighbor Einid recorded this weekend, but we will see if that happens. That'll also be a YouTube thing. And if I've got the energy for it tomorrow, we'll do some more Alone in the Dark. Otherwise, tentatively, we will see y'all next week. For now, though, let's set up a raid. I think Flowers is streaming. Yeah, Flowers is doing some Minecraft, which I might pop into the server that she's got going later on. So if you're gonna raid with us, there are the raid messages. We're gonna go say hi to Flowers Empowered. Flowers is a delightful human being whom we adore. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. I appreciate y'all for being here. I hope that I will be streaming again sometime soon. But until then, take care, friends. Bye.